Okay, I think we are live. Yeah, what an awkward time to do a live stream. But this is, well, it's 8 o'clock in the morning for me here in Norway. Let's see if we can adjust this like that. I want to read something for you. And this is a message that I got on Instagram. And the reason why I sometimes refer to Instagram when I get messages is that, um, that's what people do. They send me messages on Instagram, and I can't block that, I think. But anyway, um, it's a message here, many messages from Rico. Rico, he looks, I don't know, he doesn't look Norwegian. He looks like a black man. I don't care, but that's what it looks like. I'm just going to give it a few seconds because people are joining here, and I want to say hello. Ricardo, Angela, David, Stephen, Gorilla Tag. Hello to you. Arlene is here. Wonderful. Isra. We have people from all around the globe here, actually. Maybe not right now, but we do get people from all corners of the world here. But let me read these messages from Rico the Golden Child on Instagram. Nobody, and I'm reading now. This is not me saying this. Let me read the messages, and I'll repeat this probably after a while. Nobody wants to be no Viking. You're actually it's a little bit unclear what it means there, but you'll do some research and so on. If you want to know why you love being in the wilderness and living like a caveman. Also, he writes, why would we want to Vikings when we were these people? And then some images here, and he sends me images of some boxing matches, black boxers knocking down white boxers. And then he writes, we live rent-free in you devils' heads. And he writes, Caucasian aren't indigenous to, big letters, any land on earth, and blacks were on earth for thousands of years before any of you all devils even showed up. You people are truly the evil in the Bible they speak of. These people, they like to use the Bible and refer to the Bible, by the way. And there's a YouTube link here that I'm not going to click on. And then and he writes, this your history, you wicked devil. Why can't you all fight like us? And then he sends me some bogus link here. This is your history and present your devil. And then another YouTube link that I'm not going to use here. So this is not the first message of this kind that I have received. I do get them now and then. And I think anyone who can think for himself or herself will understand that this is racism. This is pure racism. And these people they come from a mindset, or they believe in this conspiracy theory. Apparently there's a conspiracy theory out there that goes along these lines. So black people built all civilization, and then white people came and stole that and enslaved black people and took and changed all the books and everything, and they are, white people don't have any culture of their own. It's all been stolen from black people and all of that. Um, and actually, there were some people in black people in Scotland. Was that last year? They claimed that they were natives to Scotland as a black tribe in the forest there. I think maybe they kind of gave that up when winter came. I don't know. Um, but this is actually a very interesting conspiracy theory. I like conspiracy theories. Actually, they are fun. Yes, that is Papa Smurf. He's taking a time out back there. Um, it's from my childhood. I was given that when I was a boy, and I don't know. I don't have anywhere to put him. Um, so you know that I believe racism is an ideology for stupid people, and I have no tolerance for racism or any sort of groupthink, actually. But usually I wanted to mention this because usually we hear about racism as a thing that white people do. But if you look at racism per country, Europe, and I can't remember the statistics for the numbers for the USA, but Europe is extremely anti-racist, actually, and the most racist countries are India and several of the Muslim countries in the Middle East. Those are the most racist countries. So this this individual here, I don't know, maybe he was drunk or something, I don't know, but I just wanted to highlight this because I get these messages now and then, and it is it comes from a place of hate, and it comes from a place of blaming other groups for your own shortcomings in life. It's maybe this is not a good example, but at least there's an element of that in what's going on in certain parts of the population in England right now, where you will see, just let me say, I do understand that England has had far too much immigration, and I do understand that something needs to be done. But I have seen some examples of people who has this idea that they would have been very successful in life if it hadn't been for the immigrants. And that's and those same people, they don't look like they have a master's degree. Let's just put it that way. And they don't look like they have their ducks in a row at all in life. Now, you don't have to have a master's degree to be successful, of course, but you get what I'm saying. But the thing is that a group will sometimes find a scapegoat, and this is used by politicians, of course. Nazi Germany may be the most famous or infamous example of that, where it was, well, the Jews, they said, the Jews are the cause of all our problems. But not only those, anyone, they expanded that. So anyone who was different, didn't go along with the governmental narrative in Nazi Germany, they were seen as problematic and they had to go. Let's just put it that way. And in Stalin's Soviet state, it was anyone with property, basically. They were the cause of all the problems. So this is a dangerous thing. We must call it out when we see it. And I think that since other people don't do it, I will, and I just did, concerning this undercurrent of hate, racism among black people towards white people. Also, let me say that I think it's stupid to use black and white. As I've said many times, I don't view myself as white. I don't. I'm I live here in Norway. I'm a Norse, and I actually don't view what you would call black people as black. It's like they have different ethnic origins and so on. But it makes it very simple for people, I guess, to say white and black and so on. Even though, if you go to the USA now, you will. It's difficult actually to find people who have 100% only one ethnic uh, group as their origin. If you get what I'm saying, like black people usually will have some white or European ethnicity in their DNA. But anyway, just wanted to call this out, and I don't know if you guys and girls have seen things like like this. Yes, no tone there. We are all mixed to some degree. Yes. Um, I know for me, or rather my father, who did one of these DNA, where you send in a DNA sample. I'm, as many Norwegians, I'm, or he, he's part Norse and part Gaelic, which is extremely common here. You know, so you could say that's a mixed breed. Um, so um, let's see here. Yeah, Barbary pirates were no joke. Absolutely, that's true. And when it comes to slavery in school, we learn about slavery, but only a small part of it. We learn about the transatlantic slave trade and the horrors of that evil, but we don't learn about, for instance, slavery in the Ottoman Empire, the slave trade routes going from the north of Europe through down the rivers, the castration stations along the way there. We don't learn about the slave trade going from Africa into the Arab states, the Arab kingdoms. We don't learn about that. We don't learn about modern slavery, as was mentioned here. Our government modern slavery. Yeah, well, we don't learn about the actual slavery going on right now, where people are, when they build a new football stadium in a Muslim kingdom in the Middle East. Those thin guys there in the white frocks, they're not doing the building. People on slave contracts, they do the building. We don't learn about how very often women from Eastern Europe is basically just captured and thrown into prostitution and kept there as slaves. Basically, we don't hear about that. So so this idea that slavery was done by white people against black people, and that's it. That's not correct. It's not correct at all. So you know, I think this division among races. I don't even like that word. It sounds a little bit like, can we use ethnic groups instead? You know, this division is. I'm almost tempted to say it's by design, but I don't know. I want to be careful with assumptions like that. But it's not good. It's not good. And I, as a Gen X, I grew up as someone who my generation, we don't see color. And I think it's ridiculous. Why should we care about that? What does that ha- have to do with anything? You know. But I guess that's not what it's like now. Racism got during the woke thing. Racism became very popular again. We're apparently all racists, but we just don't know it. Well, not all white people. Only the white people are racist. Apparently, we don't know it. And actually, also, if you don't care about if you're colorblind, so to speak, then you are racist. Actually, that was the new narrative, which is ridiculous when you think about it. So, I'm going to keep this live stream here short. They change things around sometimes. With here's 16 minutes. Okay, yeah. Well, let's see here. Let's get to the chat. Vidor says, I was 5% Cherokee Native American in my past. Oh, you're 5% Cherokee Native Indian. Okay, very cool. It is about race. The only people who say it's not about race are white. No, that's not true. I know people who are not white and they don't care about race. I know a guy who grew up in a very racist system and he doesn't obsess about race. So we should all go back. Richard says we should all go back in the woods. I agree. I will be going into the woods a little bit today with my dogs. Let's see here. We only see the pink here. Pink and blue hair. Yes, those woke people with pink and blue hair. Yeah. Now they had to have more. I think I have a theory about the nose ring, because other people started to color their hair in crazy colors, so that was not it didn't function as their uniform anymore. So they started to poke a hole in their nose and have a nose ring. But now other people are stupidly doing that as well. So what will be the next thing? I don't know. Sex change operations or something like that, I guess. That will be their next uniform. But anyway, Brandon says back to the trees and an awesome donation. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see here. Women would value us more if we all live in the woods. Yes. And Mountains of Elysium says, greetings, Bjorn and chat. Pink and blue hair are nature's way of warning about toxicity. Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, the reparations. That's a stupid idea, isn't it? So people today are supposed to pay other people through their tax bill because of what some other people again did generations ago. That's not fair. It's like if I had an ancestor which did some bad stuff, which I probably have. I probably have such an ancestor. Then I'm supposed to pay for that. I don't agree with that. And they say it's the state that will be paying. There is no, the state is never paying. The state is never paying. You pay with your taxes. That's how it works. The state doesn't pay that. So people don't get that. So, yeah, let's see here. Good evening. Good to see you watching from Southeast Arizona. Good to see you too. A book mentioned here for anyone interested in the Barbary history. Read a book called White Gold. Yeah, they were brutal. They were brutal. Guys should regard a nose ring as a warning, says Green Eyed Lady. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Oh yeah, I have to mention we have a person in Norway now that we're not the woke thing. It didn't really catch on in Norway, but it did catch on among certain people in the government, you could say. Now, in Norway, we have many political parties, and there is one political party, they just call themselves Red. And you know what? They're very socialist, very left-leaning, but I actually agree with them on some stuff. And because of those things that I agree with them, they are now being called populist, actually. Like people who don't earn so much money, they should not pay so much tax. I agree with that, but that's apparently populist. But anyway, their youth division, which is separate from the political party, but the youth party or something like that. I don't know what. Do you have them in England, USA? The youth party, the youth division of a political party. Anyway, the youth division or the youth political party of Red, they have a new leader. And that leader is a young man who identifies as a woman. But let's just say I don't think you would have been fooled by his appearance, her appearance. And that's not cruel to say. I think it's just the truth. And this person has come out stating quite incredible things. So, first of all, there should be no property market. No property market. The state should take over all the property and distribute that among people. So that's communism. It's very honest, it's just pure communism. Also, abortion should be legal up until 1 week before birth. And I'm not making it up. This person said abortion should be legal up until 1 week before birth. So, in other words, murder. It is just pure murder, of course. But they want to call it abortion. So, infanticide, murder, should be legal. And I'm like, what? And we can safely say that this will not be a positive thing for the political party red, because in at least here in Norway, we do not we do not agree with that. Um, so yeah, I saw that, and everyone here is shocked, of course. But maybe there's some kind of mental illness there or something. I don't know. Um, is it called psychopath when you're a psychopath? Maybe you have to be a psychopath to claim such things? But anyway, so yeah, so that was just recently here in the news. Um, Jeffrey has a question regarding abortion. Does pagan Viking culture allow abortion at the age of birth? Not making this political, just a historical question. I have tried actually to look into that, and I have not found anything mentioning that. So we can assume things. We don't know. We don't know. Now, I haven't read every single text, ancient text, Viking Age text. I haven't, but we don't really know. What we do know is that women were pregnant a lot of the time, and child mortality during the first year was quite high during the Viking Age, sadly. So losing a child was probably quite common. And I tried to look into do we know anything about this based on archaeological evidence? And I spoke with a woman at the museum at Birka in Sweden, and she said that something I hadn't thought about. Why is it that we haven't found nearly any graves with very small children? The answer is obvious, because the bones are soft and very thin, and they just become part of the earth. They, so we that's why we don't find them. Richard, thank you so much for that awesome donation. You're writing, some days I will visit Sverdifjell. Yeah, I've been there. The swords in the rock there in Norway. Let's go back to the roots. Absolutely. Yeah, so I don't know whether abortion was at the age of birth. Oh, like killing the child as it's born. I'm pretty sure that was seen as murder, obviously. Not only that, but I didn't. Yeah, of course, that was seen. That we can safely assume, that was just purely seen as murder. And yeah, I know that there is this myth that unwanted children were put out in the forest to die. That is a myth. That is one of the many myths about the Vikings that were made up so that they should look bad, so that they should be, dirty heathens and all of that. But no, there is nothing to suggest anything like that. It's just a myth. We know that they care deeply about their kids, but also that kids were expected to be. They didn't get as many years as children back then. Some say 12 years, some say 13, some say 14. In that age range there, from then on, you were expected to be and behave as an adult, actually. And women were, or girls, should I say, they got pregnant quite early. They did not get their they didn't get their period as early as women, as girls today do. So, but when they did, and when they became, what's the word, fertile, or so that they could get pregnant. They were not long after that they were became pregnant. So a woman at 20 years old had already probably had one or two children. um, Maybe three, you know. But anyway, yeah. So this is a little bit off topic here, but bringing it back to the racism here, I don't get upset when I see messages like the one I read here to you. I don't. It's just it's a little bit sad because there are people out there believing in this stuff. It's this conspiracy theory that black people built all the civilization and then white people came and stole it. So yeah, it's just sad. I love history. You know that I love history, and I have some history books here. I have some history books in my house. I have history books on the shelf behind me. Yeah, again, this question about abortion. Jeffrey says, abortion likely existed in Viking Norse societies, not judging at all, just trying to understand. It again, I have tried to look into that because I write novels based from the Viking Age, and what you do with an about that. Did that happen? And what I have found is that the only way to safely do that is by poison. And maybe some did. I'm sure some did. When a girl or woman did not want a child, I'm sure that happened. But yeah, it's a very sad topic, of course. It's probably something that has always been part of the human existence. So yeah. So Jeffrey also says there, I think the world does better when we don't look at color of people. Yeah, absolutely. Also a comment here. I would like to visit Norway one day. I feel it's been good to learn that part of my ancestry as well, meeting others like Bjorn and Hendrix. Wonderful. Yeah. Now, this became a little bit too two-sided, this live stream abortion as well. I want to make it clear that I'm not here to shame any woman who has had an abortion, because even though I am, if you want to know, I am, and it surprises people because I'm not a Christian, but I don't think that abortions are okay. I don't think so. I think that they should be legal up until very early in the pregnancy. But I don't think we do anyone any service by making it illegal. I think that will just result in some very bad stuff happening. We should have a society that values and supports women who get pregnant, or families who have children. We need more children. So I also think that schools should teach about reproductive health. That's what they call abortion now for some reason. But when I say that, what I mean is how to have safe sex, how to use a condom, how to, and then some poor teacher is going to have to stand there and explain that to the kids. But I think they should, and I think that we should have an openness about this, and I think that we should also be in schools. They should teach about what an abortion is, at which time in the pregnancy, what does the baby look like. I'm not going to say fetus because it's a baby, so that everyone should know what's being done under an abortion. Not to scare people, but to be honest about it. Because it's not as pretty as these people these sick fucks out there who promote abortions. That it's not as pretty as they try to portray it. It's not pretty at all. But I just think that we should have it legal up until very early in the pregnancy, and not legal at all after that, unless there's a medical condition concerning the mother or the child. So that means I don't agree with what the new and restrictive regulations in some of the American states, and I don't agree with the very liberal laws in some of the American states either. And another thing I want to add here when it comes to child mortality. Did you know, and this is something I had not thought about, maybe you haven't either, it ties together the Viking Age that we were talking about, and the present. High child mortality back then, and luckily not a high child mortality today. But the numbers today are skewed, actually. Did you know that? Because of abortions. They are skewed. First of all, we have technology now that enables us to know and see in most cases if the child is very sick. And when in such a very sad instance, the mother will then sometimes or oftentimes choose an abortion. I think maybe in many cases that's the right thing to do. Hopefully nobody will ever experience this, but it does happen. But it also skews the numbers, and we could even say that, well, let's just add all the abortion numbers to child mortality. Some people would do that, and then we have quite a high child mortality today, actually. But no matter how you want to look at it, then I think this is worth mentioning when we say that we have such a low child mortality now. So yeah, I see some comments here, and I also think that this lie that having a child will limit you in life is being spread on social media, and it's harming people. It's harming people. I can tell you, I as a father of two, my life after I became a father has been much better than it was before I was a father. And it hasn't limited me at all. It's given me purpose. So No, Jeffrey, I get it. You're writing, I'm not advocating abortion, just trying to understand the bigger picture. Yeah, of course. I don't think nobody thought. I don't think anyone thought you were advocating abortion. I think the two attitudes are very harmful when it comes to abortion. It's the life begins at conception? Is that what they call it? And abortion should not be legal no matter what. That attitude, I think, is very harmful. And also the attitude that just have an abortion, it's no big deal. Those two attitudes are very harmful. And I think it's something that needs to be approached with a lot of empathy. So, yeah. Iron Chef says a man becomes a real man after his first child is born. Yeah, I think I will agree with that. Kay Michelle says there is more education around contraception than there has ever been, and yet there are still a lot of unplanned pregnancies. You want sex, you take responsibility. Absolutely. And I've seen some examples of that. Here in Norway, we have a disgusting podcast, probably several disgusting podcasts, but one of the more popular ones that are being propped up by the state TV channel. And there's like this plump young woman sitting there with her nose ring, and I'd never clicked on any of that because I won't give them a click, but I saw a quote, and it's like they were talking about how, sorry to be so descriptive about this, but using a condom during sex is stupid because it's not the real thing and all of that. That's what they said. And and a lot of young girls are listening to these people. So, yes, I get it, but that's a terrible thing to say. They just sit there like idiots, like the idiots that they are, and they say things like that. And then, of course, they will probably also say that, oh, did you get pregnant? Just have an abortion, And I have spoken with some women who had an abortion. It's not something that women talk about, but in my life, I have spoken with some women who had an abortion, and they all regretted that. But I've never ever spoken with someone a woman who had a child under less than optimal conditions, and who regretted that. And that's something that they maybe should teach at school, maybe something that they should tell the students, because that's a fact. That's a fact. Have you ever heard a woman saying that she regretted having her child? Have you ever heard that? Well, she would have to be clinically insane to say that. So, yeah, never. But I've read about women who are every year when they had an abortion, that's a day they always remember every year. Did you hear that from your mother? From your mother? She regretted having it. No, that's a bit cruel. So yeah. But anyway, uh, yeah, stay away from the racist people, everyone. They have nothing good to bring to the table at all. And yeah, so this guy, to those who didn't hear me reading the messages I was sent, that was someone basically calling me evil because of my ethnicity, and a black guy sent me that. And yeah, but anyway, you can scroll back. No, go back in the live stream to the beginning where I read out those messages. Um, yes. Yeah, if there is someone, a woman who says that she regretted having her child, I think we're talking about someone with very serious mental issues. I've never ever met a woman who said that she regretted having her child. Um, I think that's extremely rare. Extremely rare. But anyway, okay, I have to stop now, and we will be talking again. Stay tuned for my video on Saturday on the main channel. That will be my next video. Okay, have a wonderful day, and we'll talk in a few days, I guess.